This is Westminster chiming clock, a German movement in the case, unbranded at the moment. We can't see that. We'll have a look. There may be something on the front of the movement when we get there. First thing we do with a clock when we get it, before we start taking it to pieces, is just check to see what we can find out, what information we can find out about it. I've wound up each of the 3 springs, and as I move the hand on the clock, there's no striking, no chiming, no nothing. Up here is a silent and chime section of the clock. There should be a lever there pointing out there that you can turn it on and off. There's nothing there, so I would suggest that maybe it's fallen through into the back, and that's probably why it's not making any noise. Certainly not chiming. Alright, the case is pretty rough. You can see around there and there, and over here, over to there. So I'll strip that down once the movement has been cleaned. Yeah, you can see that a little bit easier. I'll strip that down once the movement's been cleaned and polish it up. We'll get rid of all these scratchy little marks up here and blemishes in places where the varnish has been chipped off. Bear in mind this is a clock from the 60s, so it probably spent most of its life on a mantelpiece over a fireplace. In those days, wood was burnt in fireplaces to keep the home warm, and also most people were smokers, so there would have been smoke from the fire and tobacco smoke, etc. over this clock. So it hasn't done too bad really, but we'll strip all that out and start off again from scratch. We'll clean up these metal posts up the side here, and we'll get that done, and then be able to display the clock and see that it looks rather nice, a lot better than it does at the moment. That's the original pendulum bob with its rating nut on the bottom. We'll look at that further once we get into it. But we're now about to start taking the movement out. First thing we do before we remove the movement from a clock is to take the hands off. Undo this little knurl nut here. Come off, put it in a dish so don't lose it. Now, when it comes to the hands, sometimes you can pick them out just using your fingernails. Other times you might have to use one of these instruments or one of these, and I'll probably use this one today. They're called hand pullers, because you don't want to grab a hand and drag it up. You'll bend it for sure, because they're only very thin material. So I'll put this hand puller on it, rock it backwards and forwards, and that's the first hand off. Now the hour hand is very close to the front of the case there, so we have to be very careful getting in under it to get a start on it. I'll lever that up with the screwdriver and then slide the hand puller in underneath. Then start to move it. Actual fact, it's pretty tight, so I'll take the screwdriver out and turn down on the hand puller. It's sitting on top of the minute arbor, and that removes it. Take that out, the hand's gone. You can see the movement's dropped into the case, so it's obviously not very well attached. Alright, next step, we'll We'll turn the clock over and we'll start to remove the movement. Right. The movement's out of the case now. It was held in by one screw, which will account for why it was slapping round into the case. With the grease on that, oil just running down everywhere. Also, the reason that the chimes weren't working is the chime lever, which is just there, that piece there, is broken. And it was pushed down like that, which stops the chime mechanism working. So we'll have to look at that when we go through it. I don't know if we can replace that, but once we move that, we see the movement starts working properly and the hammers are lifting. Right, so what we'll do at the moment, get a little block to put underneath that, just to hold it up a little bit. Then I'll put the minute hand on, we'll turn it round, we'll see if we can get the hammers to work. There we go. Wind it round, we don't know what time it is or anything, but we'll see what we can get to happen. That rat is caught there. Are in a shocking mess. Turn round again. It's up fast. Quarter to. That's the hour. Let's see if it strikes. Nope, it's not. It's starting to sequence again. Alright, we've got a bit of work to do on this clock. I'll stop that. Take the minute hand off. Start off by removing the hammers. Spanner here that fits. Do these nuts. Put them in the tray. A bit tight, but it's got it moving. Now I'll mark that tooth there, so we know that's at the top when it comes out. Remove that, put it aside. Everything is super saturated in oil. Look at all the oil on that. take the hammers off. Wash at the top. Take them off in the order they came off. Then lie them down in the same order. Or put them aside. We'll clean those up later, get the oil off them. Wow, oil everywhere. Alright. Should be a bit deeper actually. I might put a clip on the top of that so we can keep it a bit more stable. Alright, that goes over there with the hammers. So today now we'll let down the mainsprings before we start doing anything with the clock. I think they're number 8s. Yep, well done. Number 8. My little screwdriver. Put a little bit of pressure. Turn that round. You can see it more clearly. That's the click. That's the click spring. I'm going to wind going train up slightly, put my screwdriver under the click, and then let the let down tool slide round in my hand until all the pressure's gone from that spring. Right, we'll do the same with the chime side. Bit of pressure on it, wind it up, pull the click back, hold it, let the let down tool slide around your hand. That's finished. Now over to the strike side. That was the chime side we've just done. Same thing again. The movement steady, wind. It was fully wound up. It's pretty damn tight. Those springs aren't working very efficiently either. Look, they'll have to be pulled out a little bit. It's not holding the ratchet in place. Well, let's let down the springs. Remove a couple of these pillars at the back, and then we'll start taking the movement to pieces. If you want to learn how to service, repair and restore 19th and 20th century mechanical clocks, then subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell.
Good morning.